Hey there, Soul Shines. It's Michelle here, and it's Creative Expressions 53, I believe. This is pretty cool. Somebody once congratulated me on like nearly a year of them. Yeah, I've been doing these for 2 years, but, well, it will be 2 years in April. I was doing them every 3 weeks at first. A couple weeks. I've gone through different plans. I really have settled into liking doing them weekly. So that's what I'm doing. Speaking of the channel, I'm so excited, guys. Last look, I was at 469 subscribers. Welcome, new people. Welcome. You know, when you start out a channel, there's always this kind of hope that eventually you'll get enough people watching, or that you'll get some people watching. And I've created a few channels in the past, and sometimes they were because I was trying to convince myself to do something, and I made a decision about a business. So we'll put a little life update here, just this little one, because it kind of applies. I have done like kind of coaching and some healing work in the past. I enjoy doing it. It is fulfilling in and of itself, the work itself. I have never wanted to be an entrepreneur. That call has never been in my heart. So it was fighting the whole time. And we're talking 20 years of trying to make it work. Fighting the whole time. Like, just, I didn't want to. If somebody else would have done pretty much all of the business stuff, they would have been my, if I would have had somebody who'd be my marketer, and they just bring people into me, and all I had to do was make videos, maybe give some talks, and then have the sessions with people, I probably would do it, because I enjoy those parts of it, but I hated everything else. And because I hated everything else, my YouTube channel never got past 124 subscribers. The fact that it got to 124 was actually pretty cool. But to now do this channel, to watch this channel grow, I don't even know how to explain the difference and how it feels. It's pretty amazing. I'm super grateful for you guys. So grateful for you guys. So grateful for the friends that I've made. It's kind of funny to think that you become friends with strangers on the internet. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna wipe tears because I am getting a little emotional thinking about all of it. I feel like I haven't met many of anybody in person, but when you watch somebody else's video and they're watching your videos, it's more than just that random stranger you're texting on the internet. You actually get to see a little bit of their personality, and that's kind of fun. Some people that I'm like, oh, I want to hang out with you in person. Just different things like that. So it's really fun, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really excited. And while we're here, I wanted to congratulate Vita. I am so sorry. I don't quite know how to say her name. She did reach out to me as we are approaching the 500 subscriber mark, which I've had a couple people mention me in videos lately as we're approaching 500. And when we get to 500, I like to go just 2 or 3 above the 500 just to make sure that we're solid at 500. But when I get there, I'm going to do some kind of a big giveaway. It's already in the plans. Alright, so that's kind of a little bit of a life update, a little bit of a channel thingy. I don't know. That was a kind of rambly way to start the video. If you don't already know, there will be chapter links because I like to be able to let people skip ahead if they want to. I always try to put all the patterns in the bottom. I have discovered that when I point up here and say, hey, here's a link, I forgot that depending on how you're watching. If you're watching like a full screen on the phone, you're not going to see it. I know there's a way to access those, the iCards, when you're on your phone. I don't know how. So if you aren't seeing the things up here, that's okay. I'm going to try if it's actually something I feel is important enough. I'll try to put those links in the bottom too. Let's talk about finished objects. So I don't have them with me at the moment because they are in the wash. I told my daughter, here, put these in the wash, but don't dry them. I finished, I'm going to put a picture here. I finished that little purple hat. It's so tiny. And things are finished Friday. Today's Saturday. I finished this yesterday. You can go check out Finished Friday and see them. I show not only the purple hat, but this blue one that I also made. I made this Sunday, between Sunday and Monday. I probably could have made it all in one day if I didn't have other things going on. It was really fun. The blue hat is a 75 stitches around. The purple hat is 100 stitches around, but with a really tiny yarn. And the light blue hat that I featured in Finished Friday and have shown in the past here is 50 around. So it's really interesting, the different looks, the different changes, but I'm going to be sending those out probably Monday. They're getting washed today, washed, dried, so I can get them packaged and send them out. Yes, I'm excited about that. I am so excited about that. Somebody suggested a particular cause, and I went and looked at it, and I just cried. I appreciate the suggestion. I couldn't do it because I just cry so hard thinking about it. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk more about it. But if you can handle it, no, I am going to talk more about it. What they are is these little tiny cradle things that you make for people who have lost babies in the second trimester, because they're so tiny, but they're still like baby form, and people want to be able to hold their babies to say goodbye. And sometimes they're buried in them. Sometimes if they have their baby cremated, then they keep the cradles as reminders and everything. And it's too much for me. It's too much for my tender heart. Just talking about it with my daughter, she was crying too. So, and I'm not surprised. She has a very tender heart too. But if that is something that you want to do, I'm going to put that link. It's called Bridget's Cradles. And I'm going to put that link below. It just is so sad for me, and I just can't do it. So I'm going to continue making preemie hats. I'm going to make the blankets for Boggy Creek, I think, at least one. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm going to continue to make some things. With the preemie hats, I have thought about how sometimes preemies don't make it, but in my mind, all these hats, they're full of love and blessings, and then they are going to go to people to help those babies live. And so it's okay, because those ones are going to help these babies live. Okay. I don't know how my mom did it. My sister, she died when she was 5 weeks old. I don't know how she survived. I don't know how anybody survives. I still grieve a miscarriage that I had, and I only had one. And I know that my aunt had like 17. She was blessed to have 3 children that lived, but how? Okay, not a place that I was planning for my video to go. Oh, goodness. The other thing I finished, I'm going to put a picture here of them on my feet. the Tinkerbell slippers. That was a very fun project. I'm going to link the tutorial down below. It's a tutorial I made because I was not finding slippers that I liked. So I came up with my own, and I can see ways that I can do things differently. I have mixed feelings about my tutorial. The part of me says what I should have done is done a tutorial on single crochet slippers and just had it as its own thing, a single or half double and just had it in double, but I was trying to like kind of get it all together because I was kind of doing more of a formula. So I kind of have gone a little bit into criticism of myself for that. It is what it is. The other thing I made and talked about yesterday as well was this. It does not have a button on yet, but I still consider it finished. It is a towel holder. You put the button here and you close it up, and then you've got the thing, and underneath you've got a thing here. I have made towel holders where I had a ring and I covered the ring, and I know I got some rings there that were given to me in last month's mystery yarn challenge, and I was thinking I could use those to make towel holders as well. So I have now. I've never known how to do this. I mean, I got to figure it out, but my brain didn't even think, oh, you could chain a thing to put stuff on. Never even crossed my mind, and so that was a really blessing from this. It is something I promised to do a long time ago. This is one of those things that I finished and it just lifts a huge burden from my heart, because it's something I committed to doing a long time ago. So I did it, and it's finished, and it's out of my way, and now I can move on. I committed to myself that this would be done before I would do seahorses, and so now I can work on seahorses too. So it was more than that, and the only reason I did that was because I knew I was excited to make the seahorses and not excited to make another one of those. It's kind of how it is. So let's talk about whips, because that was all my finished objects this week. I have my backpack. I have my brown backpack here. I have two things that I keep in this. One is this bag of yarn and projects, and then the other is some yarn and project. I keep them together because these are things I only work on Sundays. And these are... I'm so excited about these. I might actually get to do a new color because these are my temperature things. And we went up pretty high, and I'm not sure where my cutoff for my ranges are. I can't remember right now. But we did go pretty high this last week for temperatures. I know there's a lot of people that just forget about what the weather is like. And I've lived in Utah all except for 2 years of my life. And the weather was different when I was a kid than it is now. There's definitely been a change in weather. But for the last 20-something years, we've had patterns. Even though people are like, oh, you can't tell. I'm like, yeah, we have patterns. We get some pretty darn cold, often snow, the first part of January. And then we get pretty warm at the end of January, 1st of February. And then we go really cold again. So all these people are like, oh, it's so winter's over. Winter's not over. Winter is not officially, in my mind, even over until April, because we could have snow in April. That is how it works around here. And we do go up and down quite a bit over the next few months. So we did get pretty high this last week, and it was nice not to have to wear a jacket. Well, I wore a jacket. It was nice not to have to wear a coat. But it also did come down. Yesterday was so rainy. But these are my temperature socks. And I'm so excited for these because it is so pretty. So here we go. Here we go. Like every hair, it's kind of yellow today. I'm going to change my mode because that's really yellow today. I think it's really yellow because I've got the sun coming in too. So anyway, I got those. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this. And now I'm like, oh, I just want to make them all blue. Maybe like 3 colors of blue, like a light blue, medium blue, and dark blue. Like in this kind of grayish blue color. Like, that would be so cool. I really like it. That it's just one stripe of blue, one stripe of white. Well, off-white, cream, natural, whatever it's called. And that's how far I've gotten this month. A part of me is like, that's not very far in 1 month. We got 12 months. That's not going to be very big. Well, this little bit here, you got, well, let's see, we got a finger. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, actually, right around 6 or 7 months is when I'm going to put the heel in. They're going to be perfect. It's really funny to think about because I'm like looking at it. I'm like, that's not very much in a month. It didn't get very far. By the end of the year, I will have gone past the heel and I will have a decent length sock. I'm really excited about it. So, wait, which one? I have this one in an organza bag, and I'm just keeping this. I'm keeping the blue attached until I go to another color. But even then, I'm going to keep it attached in case 1 week is, say the next week is like a navy. Like, it's not going to be this week because navy's colder. But say our high was colder and I did a navy, but then we went back up the next week to this blue. If I'm just do 1 week of a different color, I will leave this attached. If the week after that is also navy, I will cut this and then reattach it when I need it again. So that's kind of how I'm doing it. Is this can go up through the one color change, but if there's a second one of that color or another color, then it cuts. That is my current plan. It may change when I actually get there because I may go, you know, that's actually too far to travel up, and I may just cut it anyway. We'll see. So that is my current plan. I have this one in an organza bag and this one in my very fancy sandwich baggie because, you know, that's what I do. And those are in my even fancier big bag. And it's got all the yarn bits for the different colors that I'm going to use. You can see there's a yellow. I actually am using the other piece of that yellow in another project I'll see in a bit. And so then this one, okay, so I didn't update the end of this. So this is the last time I worked on this was Sunday, even though the end of the month was the 31st and this is a daily. What was that? Wednesday. So I have like 3 days that I could have done to have this all the way up to date to show you all of January. I didn't get there and it's okay. But I will show you what I have done so far. So, I have most of my ends woven, just the ends here that aren't. I've gotten this far on it. I have redone it. I know. Part of why I redid it was because I couldn't remember what hook size. This time I've written down the hook size. I actually just am keeping the hook in my back here. I don't know where it is. Maybe I'm not keeping it in there. I don't know. But I did write it down this time. I am using my big butterfly stitch marker. This I had one something from Lori the Armchair Chef, and we got stitch markers and they were cute and stuff, but I was like, I'm probably not going to use these kind. Somebody else who got these kind, because these ones here have the round, so they open and close, so I can use them on something like this, but also because they're round, I can use them on my knitting needles to mark the round, which I really like, that I can use them both ways. So I have this here just so that I don't lose my last end. I haven't attached it, like quarter to quarter, you attach it right there. I'm not going to attach it until I know the next color because I might need to change colors. But I do have, hopefully you can see them, some purple in there and some green, and it's kind of interesting how it's mostly blue, but it's got these little random bits of color. And like I know we have had some warm days this last little bit, so I know this will have some green in the where it's normally blue. I know it will have some green. I just don't know what. So this one here, I don't know if I've told you, if you remember, or if you're new here. I'm doing corner to corner. I tried a couple of alternatives. This year, this is going to be a scarf. I'm going to do 12. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm pretty close to, I'm going to do 12 across. And then I'm going to start going up because I'm making a scarf. Because this is a leap year, you can do a scarf. If you did corner to corner and you just did one thing a day, you could do 6. But see, right there, that's how skinny my scarf would be, which is okay. It's not a bad scarf size, too. Let me fold this over, actually. That's how thin that scarf would be. If it was a scarf, if I just did one thing a day, it'd be 6 by 61. And 60, these are, you know, around an inch-ish. So it's going to be about 5 feet long, which is a fairly nice size scarf. I am actually doing 2 squares per day. So I'm going to do mine 12 by 61. So I'm going to have a little bit wider scarf. And what I realized, or what I decided to do, because I could just do 2 of each day color, and then like right here, I would have 2 greens, because it would be, you know, 2 squares for each day if I did like the average or the high or whatever I was picking. But I am doing a square, 1 square for the high and 1 square for the low. So it went high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low kind of thing around. That's how it went. And like I said, I have the only ends that I have not woven in are the very last ones. I don't know if that was wise on my part, but I feel like it'll be okay. So it's just this very last row that I have not woven the ends in, because I, number 1, did not want to weave in ends at the end. Plus, number 2, it's hard for me to really see if I actually even like this, but I think it's going to be cute. I have a friend who I'm planning to give this to at the end of the year, so that will be fun. And it's just pretty much mainstays, acrylic, value acrylic. They're like the worsted weight, the pretty typical yarn. My red is not. My red is probably a Super Saver, because it's just a red I had around. But everything else is mainstays that I bought for another project. Actually, for the temperature snakes for my grandkids last year. My daughter, one of my daughters wants me to make her temperature snake for the time of her birth year, and I'm like, really? Okay. So I'm gonna try to get the yarn for that probably next month, and like take her and be like, okay, pick, you know, 6 to 12 colors that you want, and we'll sit down together and create the ranges, and then we'll go through her birth year, and I'll make it. That's the plan, Stan. Or Jan, or Fran, or anybody else's name that you want to put in here, whether it rhymes or not. So those are my temperature projects. And I work on those just on Sundays. Every Sunday, that's one of the things that I do. I hurry and do my 2 rounds on my socks, a colored round and a white round. And then I do my squares for the temperature blanket. And then I've got those out of the way, so then I just work on my tithing projects. So let me talk about my tithing projects for a minute. I have a hat that I was making for homeless, and I was like kind of bored with making hats. One of the problems is that I want to make pretty hats, even if I'm giving them to the homeless. But most of the homeless are men. And so I was like, kind of feeling grumbly about it. These are real emotions, guys. It's emotion. So when the preemie hat thing came up, I was like, ooh, baby hats, I'll do that. So I put a hat on hold. It's somewhere over in that part of the room. And my plan is tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow which will be yesterday for you guys, I will do my temperature stuff. I'm going to pull out the tithing hat, and I'm going to work on the tithing hat. And I'm going to finish that hat. And then, unless I get inspired to do more hats for homeless people, that's going to be it. I have that and a scarf that I'm going to give to the lady that in my neighborhood that donates things, and she like takes hard-boiled eggs every Sunday to this church to hand out to the homeless people. And so she takes the stuff and hands out too, and so that's pretty cool. And hopefully they were well loved and well received. So I'm going to finish that hat and give it to her, and then I'm probably going to see if I can make a bunch or a few throughout, maybe one a month for the next few months, and then so next year when it starts getting cold, I can say here's a bunch of hats. But I also really like making the baby hats and the other things, so I want to continue to make preemie hats because I'm pretty sure the person that's taking the hats this year will take them next year. So I'm kind of thinking if I can do one adult hat and one baby hat a month, and then whatever else I'm doing for Tithing Projects, that would be cool. Tithing Projects, if you don't know, that's where I give some of my time, my crochet knit time, to some kind of a cause. I do so much crocheting and knitting every day, and I feel like it is worth my effort and my time to spend time giving. So on Sundays, after I do my my temperature stuff, then anything else that I'm working on, unless I'm desperate to finish something, which doesn't happen because I have plenty of days in the week. I only think I had one time in the last year that I worked on something else, and it was because it was like down to the wire for this thing. And it might have been in December. It was like I was this close to finishing that one Christmas project, and because I was that close, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I think then I gave myself another time to work on this tithing project because it's important to me. The other tithing project kind of thing, it's like so layered right now. So many of my things are like double dipping all over the place. So I know that they just finished collecting blankets for Boggy Creek. When I found out about Boggy Creek, it was pretty late in the year. Oh, I hope my battery doesn't die. I don't have it plugged in and I'm just rambling today. Anyway, it was pretty late in the year and I was already well into Christmas makes. So this year I'm starting now and making a blanket with the purpose triple dipping in a way. I don't know. I'm making it so that next fall when they start accepting blankets for Boggy Creek, it will be available to send. I'm not going to be showing that this week on the Creative Expressions. I am going to be showing that throughout this month on my Things We're Making Thursday. After the end of this month, I will probably not be done with this blanket. If it was the only thing I was doing, I would be done. Seriously. But it's not the only thing on my plate. So when I'm at the end of this month, I will start showing them probably on Creative Expressions. But for now, I'm just showing them on Things We're Making Thursday. And so double dipping is Things We're Making Thursday. It's going to be a Boggy Creek blanket. But also, it's really important for me because I'm learning new stitches. It's a knitting blanket. It's a knitting sampler blanket. It's got 30 different squares. So I'm learning new stitches by doing this, and that's what I'm really excited about. So I just have been learning what's called the sand stitch, which looks like 1x1 ribbing on one side and all bumpy and cool on the other side. So that's really fun. The other thing I'm doing that's a kind of a double dip kind of a thing is finishing my round blanket, my multi-valence blanket. And that I'm also not showing until I finish clues. So I am halfway around on the first row of the 10th clue. It was a mystery crochet along from last year. It is really pretty. It is really cool. The yarns are so soft. It's 100% acrylic 2-weight yarn. Is it 2-weight or 3-weight? I think it's 2-weight. So even though it's, you know, like pretty much 5 feet long, it's a little less than 5 feet. So even though it's that wide in diameter, and so therefore very long around, it's not that heavy, which is nice. It's so pretty. I did some math on if it was 5 feet around, because that's what it's going to be at the end, I think, by the time, and it's really close now. And I did some math with pi, figuring out how long around. So it's 5 feet long in diameter. That's like 17.5 feet just to go around. That is why it takes so long to go around at this point. That's a long way around there. I don't know how many stitches. I haven't counted in a long time. It's quite a ways around. So I'm halfway around the first round. I'm going to make it probably a 1/4 to a 1/2 in the next day or two. Depends on when I have to work on it. But that is what I'm doing for the Mystery Yarn Challenge for to work with Lori's thing, because I was like, I have a lot of things. Some of them I just want to get done. I went and got my charger to plug in, and hopefully there wasn't a lot. I noticed right as my computer dimmed because the battery is getting low that also the recording was getting jumbled. Hopefully not very much of that got jumbled. So I was talking about the Mystery Yarn Challenge. Yeah, last year you just did this exchange where you took yarn out of your stash, sent it to somebody. Somebody around would send yarn to you. It was a thing that Lori, the armchair chef, has created. She's awesome that way. She has like coordinated some amazing things, and it's been a lot of fun. This year she's like, you can do that exchange, which I did in January. I love that. It's so much fun. So I did that. You could just receive yarn if you have some challenges. You could just give yarn, and then work on a whip if you're like, I have plenty of yarn to share, but I have so many whips to do. So there's different levels, but one of the levels, the 4th level, is you can just work on your whip, and you don't send yarn, you don't receive yarn, you just work on your whips. I want to get this multivalence, this round blanket done. So I have given myself the goal to have it done by the end of February. There was 3 or 4 rounds. I'm gonna look. I hate like being like guessing here. Okay, the 10th clue has 3 rounds, so I have 2.5 rounds for finishing the 10th clue. The 11th clue has 4 rounds, so that's 6.5 rounds. And then the last clue has 2 rounds, so I have 8.5 rounds. 8.5 rounds and I will be done. Let me get back here where I can see all the things I want to see. And so that's what I'm doing for my Mystery Yarn Challenge, and so I'm not gonna drag out my blanket every time. I'm just gonna tell you I worked on it. I will show kind of an update. I'll probably call it an MYC 224 update or something like that when I finish each clue. But then hopefully the final reveal will actually happen in February. That is the goal. So that is high up on my list of things to work on. I'm trying to get to between a 4th to a 3rd and 1/2, somewhere around there. I'm finding that going all the way to a 1/2 in one day is a lot. So I'm trying to work on at least getting a 1/4 of it each round done in each day. So we'll see how that goes. So that's my blankets. While we're talking about kind of cowls, mouths, whatever, some kind of make alongs, whether it's the Mystery Yarn Challenge, Mystery Crochet alongs, whatever. While we're talking about them, I'm going to put the bird of the month. This is what Judy's Creation and Crochet has going. She puts it up, you take your yarn inspiration, you can pull out one color, you can pull out all the colors, and you can make something for the month, and you just send her in the pictures. She puts them in her slideshow of saying, here's what everybody did with this, taking the inspiration from the bird. And then she does a drawing and somebody wins. Usually it's a cake of yarn. I won once. It was really fun. So I have this interesting yellow cake of yarn to figure out what to do with. I have not had it yet. Technically, I could make something this month with it because the bird of the month has this little bit of yellow-orange color that actually is in there. But I was racking my brain. What am I going to make? What am I going to make? Because I really love the blue and pink. They're so pretty. So it's like, I don't know what to make. And I had a thought. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I'm really excited because I have found a way to meet a requirement that I have for myself of things to make this month and to make this other thing. I may even create a pattern that I want to make. I may put that on. I'm going to take a note of that. Note taken. I did change some settings in my recording program so that when I'm typing it doesn't do the back and forth. Now I have to do hold the Alt key before I can change scenes. But I don't even use that feature very often, so I probably will forget I have it. It is a thing. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It's going to be pretty. So other things that I've worked on. Again, a fancy bag. This is the pouch, and as I told you, this is the yellow like in my temperature project. That's got some progress there, as you can see. Can you tell what that is, that part of it? Can you tell what any of it is? But it's starting to get a little bit of shape and stuff. It's pretty fun. And this, is it called the North Shield? It's North something pouch. Of course, the pattern's going to be below. Pretty much it's a chart, and it does have some instructions for using like lace weight yarn or something like that. I am using 1-weight yarn, so it's going to be much bigger than it was expected. I've got the whole solid green. This is the back. When it's all done, it will be seamed along here. So it will become a full pouch, and this shouldn't be rolling down once it's actually blocked in together. I used the twined method for working back and forth, so I don't have floats. It's twisting around each time. It also means that it's not really pulling in like other knitting does. It doesn't have a lot of stretch through the knitting stuff, but it's not really pulling in anywhere. I mean, a little bit right here, kind of, but you won't even notice it once it's done. The only thing I don't like is some of my edge right through here was not great, but it's a homemade thing. He'll be okay. It looks a little better once I get down into here. I think I kind of figured some things out for how I was doing my color transitions there. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I count one row. One row in my mind is not one row, it's 2 rows. So right now I have my yarn starting here, so I'm purling. So I will purl all the way across, and then I will purl or knit back and that's 1. Part of the reason I'm counting that as 1, so it's really 2 rows, but I'm counting it as 1, is because with the twining, you're twisting. Oh, that came in dead. You're twisting your yarns around, so it gets all twisted up, but when you come back around, it mostly untwists. If I was doing like one, like how this is right here with the red and white check stuff, if I was doing that where it's every other one, then it would completely untwist when it comes back. But because it's like here, the one row is all like a lot of yellow, and then there's a lot of black, and then over here you've got some things that are yellow, some things that are black, because it's not consistent. Both, it doesn't quite completely unwind it, but it gets it pretty close that it's a lot easier for me to put it away because I can hurry and twist it. And so to me, that's one set, one row. It's really one set because it untwists it, makes it easier. That's kind of my thoughts. So, and then this, what I did was kind of guess about how much I would need to take this down the side, so I'm not having to carry the red and white across, and I don't carry this green across. This green is attached to a skein. This green is attached to a different skein. But the red and white, I didn't want to pull out whole skeins just to do the thing, so I kind of measured out some. Usually, when it's not being worked on, I wind it like this around my fingers, and then I have these like hair clippy thingies. I just stick it on there to hold it there so it's out of the way. I have dental floss that I'm using. If you can see, there's the white right through there. That's just a lifeline that will get pulled out at the end. I'm probably about ready to put another one in, maybe another time. It's because I had to undo this because it's color work and count matters, and I want to make sure that if I have to undo again, I don't have to undo all the way back. So every few rows I'm going to put in. I might do one more set before I put in the lifeline again. I haven't decided yet. But that's something I also tried to do one set on every day. I'm hoping when I get a couple of things out of my way, I can do 2, because I really do want to finish this. This was supposed to be his Christmas present. Kind of mighty endeavor. Turned out to be a lot bigger of a project than I initially thought it would be. My brain didn't register that, number one, color work takes longer, because you are, no matter what kind of color work you're doing, it takes longer because you're having to switch back and forth. Now there are ways, if you're doing like a fair isle or you're just doing the regular carry your float so often, it doesn't take as long because you only have to catch your float every once in a while, and there are ways to hold the yarn. Some people do it with one yarn in each hand. Some people do it with either. Well, there's ways whether you're a continental or English style, like I'm a thrower. But there's ways to do it so that you can do it. Hold them in your hand. That doesn't take as long as the twisting, because every time it's twisting, it's almost like you're changing the yarns every time. So it does take a bit to get across. And there's 120 stitches, I think, all the way across, so that's quite a bit. That's like working on, it's really truly like working on a pair of socks. So it is taking me a while. Because a pair of socks probably, depending on what size you're making and what kind of yarn, with this size yarn, 60 to 72 stitches across, depending on what size sock you're making. My personal ones are usually 60. My son's, I think, was 72. And so this being 120, that's like 2 socks. So it really is like working on a pair of socks with color work. Yeah, it turned out to be a bigger project than my brain registered. But it's okay. It's going to be well loved and well received. The next thing I am keeping in a bag, an actual bag that's not a like plastic bag. This is a bag that I got from Laura the Armchair Chef, and I was so excited to receive it. I love project bags. I wish I had more. I'm making a thing. It's going to be a ski mask. I put on, so I had started it. I've got a seed stitch up here. It's really pretty. And then I started it and I got it up like this far, and I was like, I need to try this on you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so big. So I don't know. It's really hard to see even in person. I used a bigger hook, so this is looser. And then up here, this is a little bit tighter because I changed my, not hook, needle. I changed the needle size. I went down needle sizes, so there's that difference. And then I also, you can tell that I also brought it in. So I left this big, and then I brought this in because my daughter's going skiing. I have to have this done in like 2 days, 3 days. Okay, counting on that, you're watching this on Monday. She is going skiing on Thursday. Her laundry day is Wednesday. I want her to be able to wash this before she wears it skiing because the yarn's been sitting around for a long time. And so I need to have this done by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning at the absolute latest. It's not hard, it's just I have other things, not just yarny things, but other things going on too. So I had her try it on. Oh, what I did, I did some decreases and I changed the yarn, or the needle size. So it did pull it down quite a bit. I worked it up a little ways and then had her try it on because I wanted to make sure that this didn't end up being too tight, because I did both things. I changed needle size and decreased. So they kind of can tell a little bit right here. There's almost a line right there. But here's the thing. This right here is the top of the decreases. And my plan is to consider that like kind of the bottom of her chin. So I have to go up a total of 4 inches from here. And then I put in that eye hole thing. And because all of this actually is like right around her chin and stuff, and it kind of makes the bottom part be kind of like a cowl that can go down underneath the edge of her coat, which is why I wanted it to stay longer so that she could put her coat over it and it would be nice and toasty. And then go up into the ski mask thing. You guys will be so excited when you see the end result. But I am doing this, and I would probably have about that much more again. This might be a little more than 2 inches, I'm not sure. But I have about that much more again before I put the eye thing in. And then I just have to do, like, how much is that? I don't know. Probably have to do another 7 inches after that. So 9 or 10 inches of knitting. I think I'm down to 80 stitches around here, so I'm excited about this. It's an easy project to work on because it is a worsted weight yarn. Well, it's a Karen Simply Soft yarn, so it's the lighter worsted weight. But it goes a little faster than some of the other things I'm doing. Oh, I feel so rambly, guys. Still feel so rambly. I have plans to do, I'm calling them rocks, I don't know. Random acts of crochet kindness. I got introduced to, there's a Facebook group for it. They make little tiny things to just leave around for people. If people find them with a little note, they can post pictures in the group, the Facebook group. I will leave the link to the Facebook group. You can make things to give around. You can pick things up. I did see a post that I was wondering about. I was like, what happens when somebody who is a crocheter finds these? Somebody's like, oh my gosh, we found this today and I'm going to start making them. I love it. I love it. I am so excited to add this. I'm not counting this as a tithing thing. This is just another thing. But I haven't found my pattern yet. Like, some people make worry worms. I want to kind of make bookmarks and then go leave it to the library. I think that would be really fun, just to leave them around in books at different places, kind of with a little note, hey, if you found this, it's for you. I'm excited about that. So that moves us into another plan, but to talk about that plan, we're going to talk about acquired things. So it's kind of a mix. This is my acquired. I don't normally acquire things because 2 reasons. One, I don't have a lot of money. So I do not have that hobby of buying yarn. Honestly, I don't know if I would, even if I had a lot of money. Because in some ways, I lean minimalist, not exactly. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I would. I like sometimes being able to go shop my stash, but I don't know if I would. I have a lot of yarn, but almost all of my yarn I either have as a leftover from a project or because I'm like, I want to make this with it, and then I never get there because I have so many things to make. So I'm a project knitter and project crocheter. I have to, I don't knit and crochet for just the sake of knitting and crocheting. It is nice to have something to pick up and do with my hands while I'm watching a movie or whatever. But I do it because I love making things for myself, for people, I love making things, and I love to make the actual things. And so, I'm a project knitter and project crocheter. I don't know if it's ever going to change because I love making gifts for people. But I know that you don't have to be a project person to make gifts for people. Some people just love their process knitters and they just knit. And it's like, okay, well, I made this. And they put it in their bin. But it's also very rare that I make something that doesn't have a specific intention of where it's going or who it's going to. So that's me. But my daughter wants slippers and she loves the Tinkerbell slippers, but she had another idea. So I'm going to put in a picture here of Tinkerbell's twin sister, Periwinkle. She is the winter fairy. And there's a whole little show about her. And she wants her slippers. So I'm going to zoom in on the slippers now and show you the color. So one of the things I went to the store for was these. I wanted furry pom-poms. I was hoping to find some that have a thing where you can just pull them through. These do not, so I've been thinking about how to make this so that she can take them off and put them on at will. I have got plans. So I'm going to do that. So I have 2 of these puff balls because I think those look a little bit more like the things on her slippers. They're bigger than mine. I have my slippers right here. I'll show you. So they're bigger, which is more accurate to Tinkerbell's, or Tinkerbell and her sisters, to have that huge puff ball. So I'm really excited about that. So I've got the puff balls, and I found these at Hobby Lobby. I did not end up going. I looked at Michael's, could not even find anything like that at Michael's. And I got those from Hobby Lobby, and because I found something that works at Hobby Lobby, I didn't go to Joann's, which would have been my next stop on my way home. And Joann's doesn't have a lot in the way of yarn. Michael's doesn't either. And even Hobby Lobby here has gotten less. Guys, give me back my yarn. I want to go into a Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby and just have a beautiful big yarn section. But they just keep getting smaller and it's very frustrating. Plus, you have to walk clear to the back corners of these stores. In some ways it just feels like they're shoving the yarn people behind, but really the people who want to buy yarn are willing to walk to the back of the store because they want the yarn. Anyway, I found this yarn. This is Yarn Bee Soft Secret Dusty Teal. It's similar to Caron Simply Soft. It might be slightly thinner actually. It says it's a 4-weight, but I was feeling it and I was like, I could hold 2 of these together and still feel like I'm working with worsted weight. They are so thin. I would probably call these a sport weight, even though they say it's a 4. I would call these a 3 or sport 2. I'll call these DK weight. I forget my numbers, so I would say that these are a 3, not a 4. That's my opinion. I've got the one yarn, and if I pull this together, 2 yarns. To me, it's very similar. It's got that shiny sheen of a Caron Simply Soft. The color is beautiful. I'm going to put the slipper up here again so you can see. Beautiful match. And my daughter's so ecstatic, and she's so excited. So I'm probably going to hold these 2 together. I'm debating on if my fingers can handle 3 together, because then I won't have to work off the ends. I can use this technique where you loop things together. I don't know. We'll see. And so this is a project, my next slipper project. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that, but that's my acquired objects and my plan. Guys, I've been talking for an hour. I don't know if I can cut stuff out or not. Some other life updates. If you notice, I don't have anything on my nails today. I worked on getting stuff off. I do have bits. I don't know if you can see that. Like, there's some stuff. My nails are in bad shape. It's because I went from having my nails done to not having my nails done professionally. And so I need to try to get a little bit more off of a couple of nails, and then my daughter's gonna do my nails for me with some home gels that we have. I'm really excited for it, but that's how far I've gotten, is I got stuff taken off mostly and then went to bed last night. It's such a process, and I don't trust my daughter to do the drilling kind of thing off, or I'd buy a drill. She wants to, but like, I have a hard time trusting somebody who's been trained in it. That scares me. So we'll see. I don't know what my nails are going to look like, but watch for it next week. The other story is I left my keys in the van. I was texting a friend, then drove to the store. Well, I had an appointment, came out, was texting her about the appointment, drove to the thing, texted her about all the thoughts that I had while I was driving. And because I was focused on that, I wasn't focused on make sure I have my keys, all the things. I kind of got myself out of the get out of the car rhythm. So I had locked my keys in the car. I did it. I don't normally do that. It was funny. So I reached out to a neighborhood group, said, hey, anybody available? Because I didn't want to call the cops for something like that when I was 5 minutes from home. I was like, I have a spare key at my house. Kids are at my house. Can you go get somebody help me out? And so somebody did stop by my house, got the spare key, came down, gave it to me, and I made it home. Random story, just thought that I'd share. The other thing is, the appointment that I went to is my counseling appointment. I've been seeing a counselor for a while. It's been super helpful. It stirred up depression, just kind of made it a little more in my face, instead of that thing that if I wasn't doing anything, or like right before bed when I turned off the lights, it would just really hit me. Because we were addressing stuff, it actually was in my face for the month of December. It wasn't just this thing hiding under the surface anymore, because it's been there for 4 years. Life's been hard for 4 years for a lot of reasons. The thing that we've discovered was, for me, having a spiritual confidence of who I am. And I feel like this is for everybody, honestly. Whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe in a life after death or not, when you have a true spiritual confidence of who you are, that other underlying confidence of this is who I am, it's super powerful. For me, I have to also have, it's not just this is who I am, but this is who I am in God's eyes. I have to have that spiritual connection. And so this last week, we kind of uncovered some things, and I felt like there was light getting turned on inside of me. And so I have a mantra. I share my mantra fairly freely, but I'm not going to share all of the second half. It goes, I am an empress of peace, daughter of deity, heir to the throne of the Most High. Technically, it's the Most High God. And when I added to it this last week, I had to add on the God. And then I talk about God wanting me, God needing me, my role in his kingdom kind of thing. That's what's in the rest of my mantra. The rest of my mantra is for me. Only one other person so far has heard it. I did that Wednesday. I wrote it on Wednesday, the rest of my mantra. It's for me. And it's always going to be for me. And if you get to hear the second half of my mantra, then you are a very important and special person in my life. Like super close and important. Because even my daughter doesn't get to hear it. And she's super close to me. It's just sacred to me. So I wanted to share that with you to encourage you. If you are struggling, find that spiritual confidence in who you are. And if you are a person who believes in God, in that relationship, because when I feel like God doesn't even want me, that's when the depression's really bad. And I had healed depression years ago. I had just chronic depression that I had no clue where it came from. And I wasn't intending to heal depression, but I just finally just really let God know how angry I was at him. I was like, he knows it anyway, so I'm just going to tell him. And it was such a healing process for me to really, truly look at all that anger that I had towards him. And my depression lifted, and I would get it occasionally, like something would happen that would trigger me, and I could have it resolved within 24 hours, and I'd be back to feeling good. Until 4 years ago, when I broke my knee, my mom passed away, my son left my church, my other son, who was 15 at the time, got caught drinking. The world shut down. We had an earthquake in Salt Lake that I felt 35, 45 miles away. And I felt it. It freaked me out in the middle of it. Plus I was also on bed rest. That happened about a month and a half after my surgery. So I still wasn't even walking around yet. I was barely allowed to put weight on my foot at that point in time. And that freaked me out because I was like, if we have to run and hide or anything like that, I can't. Even now, I have limited mobility. That scares me. So I have a lot of fears that come up. I can feel them coming up right now. So I was in major fight or flight. I was in major feeling like a failure because of everything that happened with my kids. I felt like God hated me. I felt like God was punishing me. I felt like I deserved to be punished. So that was the first thing we discovered, is I don't deserve to be punished just for existing. And then the thing that's been really helpful in the last few days, I have felt so good, and haven't, even when I'm like sitting alone and quiet and like going to bed, I don't have that anymore. That just deep sadness is gone. And that was reconnecting, and like just not even reconnecting, because it was adding a connection that never ever had exist. That God truly wants me, that he truly cherishes me, that he truly doesn't just want me to live an amazing life here, but that he wants me to come home to him. So I wanted to share that with you because I know that a lot of people struggle. And I'm not saying you have to have a relationship with God, but if you do believe in God, heal your relationship with God. Make sure that relationship with him is good. And make sure you know your value, because when you put those things together, you like don't need depression anymore. And your body can say, oh, hey, we can feel good. And if you don't believe in God, you still need to have that confidence in who you are, that you are a good person, that you are a needed person in this planet, that you have a purpose, even if it's just to light up the world. Like, I'm not saying you have to have a purpose. Like, that I have to do something in my life. But that you're a contributing part of life. That your light is needed here. Just even, like, watching Shannon from Another Yarn is so powerful because she's just so happy. And it doesn't feel fake happy. And I know some people that they go around fake happy. And it doesn't do the same thing. Shannon is genuinely a happy person. And then she shares her videos and she's just in that happy exuberance of life. And the people that I know that are truly happy like that, just being that person lights up our world. It makes me feel better about life. It touches a part of me and just like, yeah, we can be happy. We can be happy. It's okay to be happy. Shannon's happy. Look at her. Oh, how amazing. There's a lady I go to church with. She is a Pollyanna all the way. Her favorite movie is Pollyanna. And she does it. She's like, play the glad game, people. Be happy. We're just, there's so much to be happy for. Even when she goes through hard things, she chooses to be happy. And that's such a delight and so refreshing in this world where everybody's complaining. So that's my goal, is to be that person, to be that kind of person. I'm working on it. I have done so much healing and I feel so much better. And if you are in a bad place, I want you to find that love and joy and happiness within you as well. Remember who you are. Okay. Rant over. Wow. I've been talking a lot today. Some days are like that, Hey, when I tell you to remember to let your light shine through your creation, I'll share this hat. Because it's just sitting here because I wore it earlier this week. It's something I made a while back. And we got this. Look, got Millie. She'll hang out here. I'll just wear her for a minute. And she's my crochet creation. It's from a while back. And I put my little hat on. Oh, I forgot. I have one of these clip thingies, so I can't wear my hat. I was like, whoa, it is not going on my head. I'm trying to grow out my bangs, guys. I was debating about it, and I'm trying to. When they get a little bit longer, what I can do is like a thing where I kind of pull part of it in, and then I can do that kind of thing, so it kind of has a little, I don't know, because I don't like the sleeked back look of my hair right now, but I was just like, I just knew my hair out of the way. So, alright. Anyway, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because this is my current whip. I just want to tell you guys, old hat. Isn't it great to have these things to remind us of projects we did? Millie. Oh, here's her head. Millie's head. It's really fun. It's fun to look back and be like, oh my gosh. A little gnome over there was the first mystery yarn challenge thing that I made. And it's like, oh, I made that. And that was so much fun to make. And it brings joy and light to my life when I look at it. Millie brings joy to my life when I look at her. Seeing my hats and stuff that I made, whether they're on me or on my kids, it doesn't matter. It just brings me so much joy. This one has kind of a funky shape, and it's okay. Because once it's on the head, it looks fine. It's a little bit on the small side. But it's great and fine. I like it. Alright, so I'm going to finish now. I'm going to finish being rambly and get on with my day. I would like to remind you guys to remember to let your light shine through your creations. Whether they be things that you're currently making, let your light shine through them. Things you've made in the past, let your light shine through them. Crochet, knitting, doesn't matter.